What's up, y'all? This is Brave, and I'm back with another review of Toya and Reginae. This is season 2, episode 3. Let's get right into it. So, we start this episode off with Red. He is on a hike with a team of people that he put together. That once a month they go hiking, and he moving all slow. They just like, dude, what is going on with you? So the rest of the group continues to hike while he falls back with a few of his friends, and he just tells them what's going on with the gym. So according to him, he had a vision of opening up more gyms, but they would still be very small, and it would just be like more intimate setting, but he wanted to open them all across, like, predominantly black neighborhoods. However, Toya had her own vision, and that was to expand only in size for that one gym. So these two were on two different playing fields from the beginning. And she went on ahead, signed the lease, and he ain't talked to her in about 3 days. So his friends are just like, okay, so, expansion is expansion. Either way is good for the business, but what are you going to do with that extra space now? But baby Red said he ain't moving. He said that's for her to figure out, because she the one who signed that lease, and she gonna have to figure it out. I said, oh, Red. Now you gonna leave the girl hanging. Now, at the same time, we are seeing Toya have a conversation with her bestie, Danielle, and Danielle has to tell her, like, girl, you was wrong, because at the end of the day, you would be pissed off if the roles were reversed and he went and bought a building and didn't tell you nothing about it. So, Toya, yeah, you might have to go apologize to your husband, boo. Moving on from that, we see Reginae, and she's meeting with her Aunt Beatty, so that way they can catch up, right? So they go to this little tufting class, and honestly, I would love to go to a place like that because it's creative and it looks like a lot of fun. But back to the story at hand. So basically, these ladies, they catch up on Walter's welcome home party. And Beatty, she's telling Nay about how, her mom showed up and she was lit. But here's the thing, the way she phrases it as if it's such a casual thing. Like, oh yeah, my mom showed up and she was lit already. As if she just had a few drinks of wine. Girl, your mama, I don't know if your mom is back on drugs or if she was drunk. Either way, she shouldn't be doing either one of those things. Like, the way she says it so casually versus Toya being so hurt about it, I mean, two different responses to the situation. It's like Beatty is completely numb to Nina and her behavior, while Toya still cares about the well-being of what her mama is doing. Nonetheless, of course she mentioned how Toya hated seeing her mama like that. And Reginae is like, you know what? My mama always feel like she gotta save everybody, and you can't. And that's very true. Toya has been trying to save this family since the Toya and Tiny days, okay? This goes way, way back. And she has never been able to save this family, and she never will be able to. Because I don't think that's her responsibility to save them. They are grown adults. They should be able to work on themselves. So, Beatty, she also tells her that she feels away because Toya made a speech or whatever about how, Walter can be there to kind of help her navigate the family. And Reginae was like, well, a lot of times you side with the boys and my mom feels like she's alone. So the real question is, why are you catching an attitude about that? Like, girl, you can't even be open and honest about who you're dating. I can't take you serious, Beatty. Because if Toya needs somebody to stand up for her, it ain't gonna be you. Then they actually end up talking about Beatty's relationship and how she's so happy to be with Mel, yet she's living under Toya's roof and still ain't told her. Girl, get your life together, because if you got her all on your social media, you got her all on your YouTube page, like, just tell Toya that you back with this girl. But moving on from that, we do see Nay go see her best friend Lourdes. And if you're familiar with the OMG girls, her and Lourdes, Nay and Lourdes, they were the original members of the OMG girls. And I believe that they both were let go from the group because they were younger than the other girls. And also, I don't know, I just feel like maybe they didn't have the talent that the other girls had. I'm not trying to diss them, but I think that they weren't like singers like Zonique, and can't think of what the other girl name, something with a B. And then they had got a third member. I don't know her name either. But nonetheless, these two were originally in that group. They've been friends since then. And we learned that Nay is actually her, Lourdes' daughter's godmother. So it's cool to see that they're still locked in. Nay basically just updates her on the family drama and how she realizes that she may have to step in. And I'm like, okay, well, this is where people always feel like you're overstepping because they're still looking at you as a child. So they want you to stay in a child's place. And honestly, I feel that because I've had to be in situations where, you know, I had to stand up for my own mom against my family. So I completely understand where she's coming from. And honestly, within this family, I feel like because Walter is home, Walter may be on Toya's side. You know what I'm saying? But the rest of them, yeah, they definitely are going to be going back and forth with Toya. We can already see it. So, Nay, yes, you may have to step it up. Moving on from that, we see Red. He's working out and he's doing all this hard breathing. I said, Red, what's going on here, baby? Because you work out all the time. Like, did not expect all of that. But Toya, she comes outside. She trying to, check his temperature or whatever. And she ends up apologizing to him. And he accepts her apology. He says that he's over it. But she does end up telling him that now she has another idea, y'all. Her new idea is that she wants to get the family together for a family reunion. And he's like, okay, well, how you gonna have a reunion when you not talking to your mama? You done blocked her. And then when it comes to Casey, like, girl, y'all are not seeing eye to eye right now. And she's like, well, I still want to have this thing. And I'm with Red. You gotta fix that relationship before y'all do this reunion. Because y'all gonna go up in there and it's gonna be fighting and bickering all over again. Now, moving on from that, we actually see Toya. She makes a video on her social media about how she wants to do this whole sibling reunion. Now, she mentioned that she hasn't even met some of her dad's kids. And I'm just like, dang, well, how many kids he got? Oh, baby, we about to find out because we see her FaceTime her dad. And she says that, they've always had a rocky relationship. However, she has, forgiven her dad. Y'all, I just have a question because I just cannot remember all those old episodes of her show. Were her daddy issues ever talked about on those shows? Also, did the daddy have a drug problem like Nita or no? Because I thought the daddy didn't have a drug problem, but the mama did. And also, are all them kids his kids? Because he mentioned that he got 17 kids. And I'm just trying to figure out, is all of Anita's kids his kids, or do some of them have different fathers? That's my only question. Nonetheless, she tells him about this plan and he's all here for it. She also tells him that, and we'll make sure to have it in New Orleans so that way everybody can, pack up and it'll be easy for them to get there. Because the Atlanta crew is not as big as how many other people are in New Orleans. I said, okay, cool. So we're going to see how this will play out. Now, in the next scene, we have Casey, Walter, and Red. They meet up. They go go-kart racing. And here's the thing. Casey wants Toya to see his side of things. Baby, there's no seeing your side because your side is wrong. Okay? Let's start there. Now, he ends up saying that, he did go to therapy. And I did like the fact that we saw a piece of his therapy session. And this is the first time, I'm going to be completely honest, y'all. This is the first time that I feel like I have seen a therapist that has really tried to hold the person accountable. And his therapist was telling him, like, you know what? If this is a behavior that has happened before, time and time again, then maybe your sister has met her limit. Like, she's done. She can't keep doing this with you. Now, she didn't say all that, but I feel like she said enough to let me know that she probably holds Casey accountable. Now, Casey, he ends up telling the guys that, you know, since he's back in therapy and everything, and before he can go any further, matter of fact, they were like, so are you being honest in there? Like, are you being honest with your therapist? Because, y'all, let's be honest. I feel like a lot of people are not being honest when they go to therapy. They tell their side of the story that makes them look the best. But that don't mean that that's the actual truth. But maybe that's a whole other conversation that people usually aren't ready to talk about. Moving on from that, though, Casey says that he's being truthful in there. And Casey basically goes on to say that he wants his sister to apologize. Now, Casey, are you serious? Like, the fact that you lack all accountability is crazy. Because it's not even a situation where he's like, you know, I think that Toya owes me an apology and I owe her one because I spazzed out in this way. No, it's none of that. None of that. And baby, when that man said that Toya owed him an apology, the way Red looked at him, I said, oh, Red not about to play with you. And playing is what he did not do. Because, baby, one thing about Red, he gonna be a husband. Okay? And he has to let Casey know, like, dude, you don't know what Toya goes through. When she's crying at night and I gotta see her cry over this family, like, don't even try to sit up here and play into your face. Like, the audacity of you to say you want an apology. Don't even be asking her for an apology if you can't even fix your lips to take accountability for what you've done to make the relationship go sour. Okay? Like, it literally got to the point where Red was so mad that he ended up being like, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and head on out. Okay? Because he could already see that Casey was on that BS. Alright, so in the next scene, we actually have Danielle. She's meeting up with Beanie and her girlfriend Mel just to have dinner and just see where their relationship is. So we basically learn that these two girls, they are locked in. They're in a relationship. Mel, she expresses that, you know, the family don't really need to be in a business like that. And also the family is going to have one perspective, but they need to get to know her. And at the end of the day, Beanie has yet to tell Toya, even though she lives with her. And Danielle's like, yeah, well, you might want to tell her before somebody else tell her. And I absolutely agree with Danielle in that situation. Like, listen, girl, you already know your sister probably going to feel some type of way because she's gotten into it with Mel. So you need to go ahead, pull the Band-Aid off, tell your sister. And then as for Mel, I do agree with Mel saying that, you know, the family needs to get to know her a little bit more. Because I can't lie, the family had a bunch of heat for her, but they didn't have no heat for Beanie's boyfriend. So it's like, did y'all just not understand because it was a poly relationship and y'all don't really understand poly? Or was Mel really pulling strings and Beanie was just going along? But you know what? The more that I watch Beanie, I kind of feel like Mel wasn't the issue. It was more so Beanie. Because Beanie will let things go on. She don't say nothing. She just be doing stuff. And then when people catch on to what she doing, she kind of like, oh yeah, that's what, yeah, me and her, we together. It's like, girl, you need to be upfront and honest at all times. But moving on. Alright, so now we have Toya meeting up with Anita. So, first of all, Toya gotta admit that she done blocked her mama. Because you already know her mama had acted a fool. And what Toya gonna do? Hit that block button. Okay? Now, what's crazy to me is that Nita came in talking about, so she just came from a run, yet she got on a sundress. Ma'am, not you out here running in a sundress, and you probably had that thing just bouncing all around. Girl, you're doing a lot. So they talk about, where her head is. And Nita says that, she never thought that she was going to see Walter because he was facing a lot of time. And at the same time, she's always thinking about her other sons who passed away. And I'm just like, Nita, are you in therapy? Or not even just therapy. Like, girl, I understand that you have been through a lot. But you need to start doing some things that help you relax your mind. And I don't mean drinking, and I don't mean the drugs. Now, one thing that I will say is, as Toya is having this conversation with her mom about, like, where her head is and how, she can open up to her kids. One thing that I will say is that I feel like Toya is very cautious about what is being said to her mother. And what I mean by that is she's like, I don't like to see you like this. I don't like to, see that you're reacting to things in this way. But she's not chastising her. She's not being like, oh my gosh, accusing her of being back on drugs or drinking or anything like that. Whether she is or if she isn't. And I feel like that's because Toya is not trying to put that out there. Because, like, we've seen, you know what I'm saying? We've seen how reality shows were back in the day. And how Toya had to, like, go find her mom. And it was a whole thing back in the day when Toya had her reality show. I think it was I can't remember if it was the first one with Tiny or if it was the second one. I think it may have been the second one because it had, like, all of her siblings and stuff on the show. I just feel like she's being really careful and handling the situation with her mom very delicately. You know what I'm saying? Because, like I said, I don't know if Rita is back on any substances, but we not about to sit up here and be like, oh yeah, Toya's mom is back on drugs, and then that's the headline. You know what I'm saying? So I can respect the way Toya is handling this. Because at the end of the day, that is a family issue for them to handle in real life. Now, y'all, back to the show, though. I was cracking up when Nita thought that this was about to be a reunion so that way she could get back with Walter. Ma'am, this is not for you to hook back up with your old man. What are you talking about? Baby, you can tell that he the one that got away, okay? Now, they talk about the fact that she has a cookbook, y'all. Nita got a cookbook, and it sounds like each of the recipes will be based on, like, a person in the family. So, like, Toya's favorite foods, Reginae's favorite foods, and, the line goes on. Baby, I'm not even gonna hold you. I think Nita can cook. I really do. So, if the book is out, or if it's coming out, y'all let me know. Because I may have to cop the book. You know what I'm saying? Is she from New Orleans? Yeah, there's a chance that food may actually be good. But moving on, we get to an improv class with Reginae and Casey. So, first of all, Casey can't follow not a near instruction. Okay? I'm like, sir, are you okay? Like, are you slow? Delayed? What's going on here? Nonetheless, they sit down and have a conversation, okay? Casey is here to tell Reginae that he needs her to talk to her mama. Sir, you starting off wrong because you already know Reginae is going to be on her mama's side. She's 10 toes down. And honestly, y'all, I just feel like this was a conversation where two entitled brats were going back and forth. I'm going to throw that out there. Because here's the thing. Two things can absolutely be true. They go back to the conversation about the float, right? And how Casey was on the float acting a fool. Now, this was a big moment for Toya. Absolutely. They requested for her to be, the queen of the event or whatever it was. Like, this was a big deal for her to be on this float. You know what I'm saying? And she decided to share that moment with her family. Now, the second truth is that This could have absolutely been an overwhelming feeling for Casey, considering it was back in New Orleans. And like he said, these are the same streets that he used to run up and down and do who knows what. Okay? And then for him to be on this float and he was drinking, it was a lot going on. Okay? I am not justifying that man's behavior at all. All I'm saying is that two things can absolutely be true. Was he wrong? Absolutely. Absolutely wrong for acting a fool, getting drunk, and all of this stuff. But I will say, Casey needs to figure out how to handle his emotions. I'm sorry, therapy is not enough for all the trauma that he got going on. It's absolutely not enough. Now, I will say that it was big of him to say that he wants to actually go to therapy with his sister. And honestly, I do think that they need family therapy. I absolutely agree with that. Starting at the head with that mama. Okay? Starting with her. And then we can trickle it on down. You know what I'm saying? Now, one thing that I will say is, baby, Reginae is gonna make a face. Like, she had the stank face the whole time this conversation was happening. And baby, don't even get me started on that deep-ass eye roll that she gave him. Like, them eyes was rolling, okay? So, he's trying to tell her, like, yo, like, you can sometimes be disrespectful. And I feel like the only reason why he said that was because it did seem like she was kind of disregarding the conversation just from her body language. And I feel like also that scene was kind of choppy, so I don't know what was said before. Now, Reginae mentions that, you know, she has other uncles who are older. She would never play with them and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, girl, you are kind of closer in age with Casey. So, sometimes that does affect the relationship when you're not that much older than that other person. For example, Casey is probably only, let's see, if she had Reginae when she was like 14, Casey is probably only about, 5 years younger than Toya? And that's at the most. I'm pretty sure he's probably only a few years younger. But nonetheless, they get into this back and forth about him raising her. Now, raising is a strong word. Sir, you may have babysat for Toya a few times. I don't think that you raised Reginae. Especially considering you was in and out of jail a lot. Now, one thing that I will say, had he been Rudy, I would say absolutely, because y'all remember she had Rudy the whole time, from what I can recall watching her show back in the day. I need to figure out, y'all, is her show streaming somewhere? Like, is it on Tubi or something? Somebody let me know in the comments if that show is streaming. But nonetheless, Reginae was like, no, you never raised me. He's like, no, because like when your mom used to be out in the clubs, I used to watch you. And Reginae was like, my mom was never a clubber. Hold on, Reginae. Hold on, baby. Hold on, baby. Because at this point, this is where there's a divide of you being the child and you're not privy to everything that the adults have going on. Because Toya could have absolutely been in the clubs. I'm not trying to like make it seem like going to the club is a bad thing, but your mama was dating Wayne. So if Wayne is at the club, I'm pretty sure she was in the club too. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be for real. Somebody was watching you at the house, baby. Like, be so for real. Especially considering your mama was with Wayne when he was what? I want to say like that first couple of albums. Oh yeah, your mama was absolutely in the club partying it up. Like, be so for real. And honestly, I'm pretty sure we can probably find photos from back in the day of your mama being in the club. Her hanging out with, you know, the likes of Rashida and Toya. Not Toya, she's Toya. Tiny and all the other Atlanta girls. Like, girl, you was just tucked away in bed while your mama went out. But again, this is where I feel like that, like I said, this is that thing where you were a child, you're not privy to everything that's going on. And honestly, when it comes to Reginae is the type of person who feels like she know everything. We've seen it plenty of times. And baby, you don't. Especially when it comes to your parents, I promise you. I promise you, you don't know everything. Because they don't tell you everything. Now, it gets to the point where she want to shut the cameras down because he's saying that Toya was out here partying. Girl, it's fine. Moving on. Alright, so now we have a conversation happening between Toya and Walter. And they talk about Casey and how Casey may need a little medication, okay? Because something ain't right upstairs. And for all of us to be able to function with him, he needs to be medicated. And baby, I agree. So they then start talking about this family reunion. Now, baby, according to Walt, they daddy got 26 kids. I said, whoa, 26 is bad enough that Toya just said the man got 17. Either way, sir, you're out of control. Now, Walt talks about how he's going to see his daughter for the first time in 9 years because he did a 9-year bid in prison. And that is crazy. Like, to have missed that much of your child's life, like, so see them grow up, like, that's so crazy and unfortunate. But at least he trying to go see her. I feel like we saw a preview where he was crying because he wasn't going to be able to go to New Orleans because of his PO. So, like, hopefully maybe he can work something out with the baby mama so that way he can at least see his daughter, you know what I'm saying? Like, Atlanta and New Orleans ain't that far from each other, is it? Now, within this conversation, you can tell that Toya is, like, holding back from crying. And Walter, you know, he was about to cry as well because he, like I said, he's been in the system for 9 years. And at least Toya was like, you know, at least you're trying to do the right thing this time around. So keep up the good work, Walter. So they end up inviting the other siblings to the family reunion, of course. Casey over there talking about, am I invited? Am I invited? Not really, but I guess you can come. Child, Casey gonna work a nerve if he don't do nothing else. So Walter, he ends up telling Toya about this family dinner that he went to, which included they mama, Casey, Beatty, and Mel. So, of course, Toya's like, wait, Mel? Is Beatty back with Mel? And Walter is like, oh, I wasn't supposed to tell you that? No, I thought they discussed this, sir. You wasn't supposed to say nothing because Beatty was supposed to tell her sister. Yet, I don't know how many days has gone by, but Beatty ain't told Toya nothing. So you already know, Toya is feeling away. And y'all, that was the end of the episode. Let me know what y'all thought about it. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And I will talk to y'all in my next review. Bye, guys.